What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on my Subaru rally build. Yes, it is the same day as my video where I built the front laterals, which if you haven't seen, check out a link right here. But if you're new here and you're not sure exactly what I'm doing, currently I have torn apart my Subaru RS and we're in the middle of building the roll cage in order to run stage rallies. So you have to build a very intricate cage in accordance with the FIA spec rules. Currently all I have built are the main hoop, the front laterals, and the rear boxes. So today we're picking up where I left off. We're going to start on the front rocker boxes. All right, so all I'm gonna do is make pretty much the same boxes that I made back here, which if you haven't seen my video on how to do that, check it out here. And I'm going to make the same thing pretty much for up here. The only thing that I have to do to comply to the actual FIA rules or have 12 square inches of at least 3mm thick plate, or 1/8 inch plate here in America, because we use the standard way. So obviously the design that I make is going to be way more than that, because I'm going to plate where it's going to sit on the ground, and then it's going to be a four-sided box essentially. So two sides going in the rocker panel, one side facing the inside of the car, and then the top plate for the cage to actually bolt on. Or weld on, excuse me. We're not bolting anything on. That is allowable by the FIA rules, but it's highly discouraged. Anyway, I have this idea for how I want to run my sill bar. I'm still waiting on word from the scrutineer, the guy that's actually going to check out my cage and say yay or nay on it if it's going to be allowed in the rule book. And the way that a sill bar works, it follows your sill, obviously. So there's the normal way of doing it where you attach it to the bottom of both of the cage feet. So I would attach it like right around here, and then I would attach it right around here on the main hoop. I don't really want to do that. If I can, I'm going to try to go straight to the boxes on both of them. So I would weld it here, and then I would weld to wherever the box is going to end on the flat surface here. And then it's going to tug super close up into the sill and down low, and then I have plenty of room for both of my door bars. So because of that, I need to actually run a wider box than I would normally, because I could get away with getting a pretty skinny box here up front for the cage to sit on, but I gotta have at least enough for the tube to weld to if I can run that style of a sill bar. So another way that this is going to help running that lower sill bar is because there's another rule that states that the sill bar, the lower door bar, and the A-pillar bar, which would run from up here all the way down to here, have to come within 4 inches of where the cage is actually going to be mounted to the floor, or to the box in our case. So if I can run that lower sill bar, that's going to give me a lot more room to get those other two into that 4 inches of space that I have. Anyway, that is enough talking about it. As you can see, I magically appeared with some stuff to measure. So let's start measuring exactly how we're gonna make these things. Try not to get this thing all dirty. Obviously that's not at all where it's gonna go, but I can get a general idea if that box is gonna stick out too far. Honestly, if the box went right there with the bolsters on the side of this seat, I can't even move my foot really over that far without making it, so it's not even comfortable at all. The dead pedal is pretty comfortable in this car, and that's still gives me about 3 more inches of clearance, but I gotta get this seat in. Definitely don't want to trash it. This seat's like quite nice, which I haven't shown you guys the seats that I got because I just got them in like 4 days ago. I need to build seat mounts pretty soon so I can actually like position myself in the car for the other bars. So that's gonna come up pretty soon too. All right, so we've got how far we can come out, so I'll write that down. Leave a little bit of wiggle room. Go 4 1/4, just so we have plenty of room to mount that bar in case they got to play with angles at all based off where this rocker panel lies. So 4. Now we got to figure out how long we want to make it. So we'll go by 4 inches. 3 3/4 tall. That's what she said. Now we need to figure out how to make these two. So that's going to take a template. These are going to be really easy to make, but these are going to require actually like measuring out a template and whatnot. That way we can follow the contour of the rocker box, just like we did back here. So nothing different. So this one's going to be, these two are going to be the same, the front ones. The back is not going to be the same because the rocker panel kind of like contours in, if you can actually see that. So that one's going to be a little bit trickier to actually design, but shouldn't be too bad to make. Just slowly finessing it just like we did the other ones. So I'm going to get some cardboard and we can start mocking out a template for that. So cardboard like this is a lot easier to use, cardstock, because it kind of holds its shape a lot better than normal cardboard. So don't tell my wife that I'm about to take a box out of this. I'm sure she won't notice if I put that towards the wall. She'll never notice that. All right, I think this template is close enough to where we can transfer this over to a piece of stock, and then we just slowly grind away. It fits pretty good. It's really similar to this one. I mean, it has the same contours as the back half, so if I had thought about it then, I could have just used one of these pieces and then traced it onto another piece of 1/8" stock, and then I would have been able to have the front half of my rocker boxes, but I didn't. So now we'll do those, we'll do the top piece and then the side piece. So we're gonna cut 2 of each because those should be symmetrical. And then we'll figure out exactly how we need to make the back one, tack it all together and call it good. And it's magically been a couple days. Anyway, I have not worked on this thing the last couple days since I tacked these pieces together. That was literally the last thing I did. But I got an email back from the scrutineer saying that that lower sill bar that I talked about earlier in the video that actually connects to both the rocker boxes wouldn't be legal. So I'm not going to bother making this one as far out as before. So I'm just going to trim about 1 inch off of it just so it can sit in just a little bit more. That way I do get a little bit more clearance on the driver's side with my feet and as well as the passenger side with the co-driver's feet. Now that I got that trimmed down, I need to get rid of some of these stitch welds that I have. They're a little too fat and they cause the plate to not be able to sit flush against the rocker panel, as well as there's a bolt sticking up through the floor for the ECU plate to actually bolt to. So got to get rid of that, as well as those stitch welds, and then we can slowly start contouring the plates to actually get them to fit. Cuts came out pretty clean. Everything looks pretty good. I just need to get rid of just a little bit of the backside and the top to actually get it to fit exactly in here like I want it to. And then I can tack it into place. Just test fit this piece after I got done trimming it. It all fits in the car really well, so I think it's good. Next step, I need to cut another strip out of that large plate that I have. I didn't cut enough metal initially, so we've got nothing to scribe this line onto, and we don't have enough to actually make the driver's side or this back plate. So got to do that real quick, and then we can keep making templates and cutting stuff out. Got this thing all smoothed out. The contour fits up really well with the rocker panel now. Now we just got to figure out exactly where we need to trim this to get it to fit into our box that we're gonna make. So I still have to make the box for this side, just trim that one piece and then tack them both together. And then we can actually trim this, and 3 sides of both the boxes are gonna be done. And then we just gotta make the front sides. Hey, they almost look like they're done. So all 3 sides are tacked on both of them. They fit in there pretty good. So now we're actually ready to make the template and figure out how to do the back. The first piece is done. It's taken a while. I'm not really showing a lot of it, because it really is the same stuff. I mean, just scribe, go back and forth, make little marks where you need to actually remove stuff until eventually you get the piece that fits. And then once you do, put it on the other one and hope that they're the same and they come out relatively easily. And then just keep removing material until it fits. But this one's good, so I just gotta clean up the edges real quick and then tack it on. But first I gotta scribe it over to another piece of 1/8 inch. That way we can use that for the driver's side. And then I'm going to tack it on. Alright, one box tacked into place. Pretty much all done. Now on to the next one. The boxes fit in there pretty good. Fitment's pretty tight. As you can see, definitely close enough for me to weld it. So now, just gotta make plates for the bottom to actually sit on. That way the floor's a little bit more reinforced, and then fully weld these things up. Before we make the plates, I was curious to see how these things look with the actual A-pillar bars in there. And they look pretty good. It all fits really well, so I do need to get rid of these. These are the studs for the stock dash bar. Since I'm not going to run the stock dash bar, and I'm going to just put a bar across between the 2 A-pillar posts, I don't need those, so I can take a grinder to those, and then this one will sit a little bit better because you probably can't see it, but it's kind of sitting on where the bolt is. It'll sit a little bit better on the box, and this one's also right up against it, so it can't fully sit where it's supposed to in the center of the box, but it'll be more centered once I remove those. Got our 2 plates. Now we just need to clean up the edges and then be good to tack in there. Once I actually clean up all of the area that it's going to be in, I'm probably just going to do that later. I'm just going to take the torch to the seam sealer that's in the cracks, whatnot, scrape it out like I did for the other boxes. And I think I need to grind down one of my stitch welds that I've got going through there so this can sit flush. And after that, just clean it up with paint. That way it can actually get welded in there, which I'm not going to fully weld these just in case I don't have enough room to actually fully weld the cage and I have to drop it down to the floor for some reason. I don't want to cut through the reinforcement plates that I made. So next step, I'm just going to weld up those boxes. Alright, both of them are welded up, and I think that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to let them cool. I'm not going to show putting those plates in the car. It's pretty simple. I got to just clean up the area anyway. It's nothing I haven't shown before. If I even get to it today, because I got to go do other stuff. So yeah, glad I finally got these done. It only took like a week. But yeah, got a few days off for Thanksgiving coming up. Got to spend time with family, of course, but I should be able to get, my goal is to try to get the windshield bar done, the roof bars, so that the roof bars are going to make, and if I need to pull the roof off, remove the rear glass, and plate the rear strut towers, which I am at least going to plate the rear strut towers. I don't know if I'm going to remove the rear window or pull the roof. I don't know. It'll depend on if I get enough clearance just by dropping the cage down from the boxes. So we'll see once those are tacked into place. But yeah, long list of stuff ahead. But like I always say, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I've learned a lot from you guys just commenting and stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of people out there that know more on these subjects than I do. And I'm just trying to show people as best I can and learn in the process. So definitely not a pro by any means, and appreciate all the feedback that I get from you guys, from the people that have done this quite a bit and know more on the subject than me. Hopefully you guys can actually hear me. I've got my welders running and it's not a fan on demand. Anyway, that's all I've got for this one. It's probably going to be long as crap, so if you made it this far, appreciate it again. Have a good one.